Please be advised, this podcast runs on coffee. Lots of coffee.
It's time to rethink men's health. Because it doesn't just affect men, it affects us all. When men are well, the benefits ripple through families and communities. But when men are unwell and unsupported, we all feel it. We're all the real face of men's health. Be part of the solution with Movember.
Hey, welcome back to Dad Space. It's the podcast about dads, for dads, about dads, all things dads. I'm glad you're here. It's Movember, November, Mo and No. And it's a chance to celebrate all things dad. Men's mental health, physical health. Movember.com is where you need to go and participate. There's a lot of great things you can do this month. And also tell another dad. Tell another guy in your life about Movember. Remind them about the challenges and what Movember's all about. Movember.com. Super simple. And glad you're here. It's a thing about that we want to talk about this month, is really focus in with these 30 episodes in 30 days around this wonderful thing called being a dad, being a guy, and some of the things that we deal with day to day as dads, and some of the struggles that nobody knows about except for us. So welcome back to Dad Space. Glad to have you here. This is the show where we talk real life, dad life, and everything in between. And I'm glad you're here today because as part of Movember, we're getting real about something every dad needs to know, and that's mental wellness, your health, your mental health. You've probably heard it before. Man up, push through, don't show any weakness, big boys don't cry. But let's be honest, keeping everything bottled up doesn't make us any stronger. It actually weakens us. It makes us silent, and silence can take its toll. And when men get silent, the world takes notice. So this episode is about redefining what strength looks like, learning to manage our mental load as men, as dads, finding connection with other people, and setting the kind of example our kids will be proud to follow, and giving them the tools to deal with their own mental health as modeled by you, their dad. So let's talk first let's start with a question. When you think about strength, what comes to mind for you? For a lot of us, it's the idea of being the rock. You know, the one that never breaks, solid, foundation material. You're just that thing, that person, that steady constant. But in that, even if we are that steady rock for our family, who's there for us? Let's go back to why this podcast exists. A reminder, if you're first time here, welcome. Glad to have you on Dad Space. But the reason I started the show was when I had an interaction with a doctor in the hospital when one of my kids were being born. The doctor looked at me and said, "We're here for your wife in this moment, obviously, and there's nobody here for you. So if you pass out and crash on the floor, nobody's going to catch you." And it was meant to be kind of lighthearted and break the moment and kind of make it a little bit more, right? But those words, "there's nobody here for you," even though they were meant in an off way and just kind of lighthearted, it really sunk into me. The more and more I realized that there is nobody here for me. Sure, there's friends, there's family, but they all go home. And you're there by yourself, dealing with life. And there's nobody here for you. And that's what I wanted the show to be. A response to that on Dad Space, that there is somebody here for you. There are great conversations about being a dad. And as we talk about Dad Space and talk about creating a space for you as a dad, that you never feel alone. So that's why this podcast exists, and I'm glad you're here. Again, first-time listener, thanks for being here. What if real strength isn't about holding it all together and being everyone else's support, but knowing when to ask for help? What if that was what real strength is? Understanding it's time for help, and I need somebody. I can, again, going back to that moment in the hospital and just feeling overwhelmed and anxious that I don't have the tools set I don't have the experience. I don't know what to do. And they give you some basic instruction and they give you some basic knowledge in the hospital when you're having that first baby. But when you get home and the reality kicks in that there's nobody here right now and I can't go anywhere, I can't do anything, and I'm not that I'm stuck with my kids, but my life has changed dramatically from what it was to what it is now. And I need to make some really different choices. I don't have the same freedoms I had before, and it's not just me taking care of myself and keeping myself alive. I've got this child who is completely dependent on me, and if my wife and partner goes back to work, it's just me. And in that moment, you feel really overwhelmed and underprepared to be a dad. And you just don't know how to ask for help. Like, who do I even ask? And if your family lives far away or your family is no longer available to you, however that is, you're on your own. And this was a really anxious moment for me because my family didn't live in the same city when our kids were little. And there was a lot of moments where I didn't know what to do next. And things get tough when you're dealing with stuff and you feel like you're all alone. I became a stronger partner for my wife. I became a stronger person for my family by simply sharing the fact that I didn't know what I was doing and owning up and learning and growing in that ignorance that I could improve. And there's stuff to learn. When you come to that realization that you don't know everything about everything and you have to lean on others, that's when your family relationships become stronger, because it's not all about you. It's not all about your knowledge and wisdom. It's about your weaknesses. And in those weaknesses is where you can build strength with others who also feel inadequate, but are looking for support. And that support strengthens families. And as you strengthen families, everyone benefits from that. Between work, bills, kids, schedules, and trying to hold it all together, it's no surprise that we sometimes feel like a pressure cooker, like everything is just boiling up and it's just, we're getting to the expanse of this balloon and it's going to burst. Mental health isn't just about stress management, it's about maintenance as well. Think of your mental health like your car. Regular tune-ups, oil changes, they all matter. A short walk, 5 minutes of deep breathing, or just taking a moment to check in with yourself can really help restart your headspace. We talk about this on this show, that you need to make yourself a priority. You need to create time in your calendar just for you, whether that's hanging out with your friends, getting out of the house. And if you're a single dad, I know this is going to be super hard, but there's got to be a way within your day-to-day, within your weeks, within your month, that you can carve out some time for you. You need to do this. This is an opportunity for you to find space for yourself, because if you can refill your cup, then you'll be more help to others because you're drawing from a well that's been refilling, and there's something to pull from. There's something to offer. So here's a Dad Space quick challenge for you that you can put into place immediately before grabbing your phone tomorrow morning, because that's kind of like one of the first things we do is we get up, we grab our phone, right? Take 5 minutes of silence. Don't even turn your phone over. Don't even power it on, whatever. Don't touch it. And just spend 5 minutes, complete silence. If you got a backyard, if you got a patio, if you can go for a walk, 5 minutes of just silence and just breathe. That's it. This is not like earth-shattering, super difficult to do, but it's intentional. You'll be amazed at the small pause and what it'll do for you for that day. And then do that every day for a whole week. Maybe do that every day for this month of Movember, that you give yourself 5 minutes of silence. If you're not a morning person, then give yourself 5 minutes of silence somewhere in your day, but make it a priority. Put it in your calendar, whatever. And make it something that's super important, that you will not skip. When you have the opportunity and the temptation to skip it, you will not skip this. 5 minutes. That's all we're asking, guys. 5 minutes for yourself. And don't have anything else to stimulate or distract from this or detach you from this moment, 5 minutes of silence. Try it. It works. It really, really works. One of the hardest parts about being a dad is feeling like you're all on your own. Again, my story about there's nobody here for you in the hospital. But connection, that's the real antidote to burnout, is being connected with other people, not being on your own, not feeling like you're alone in this world, connecting with others. Maybe it's grabbing coffee with another dad, finding a local dads group, or just sending a text to check in with a buddy you haven't talked to in a long time. Brotherhood, fatherhood keeps us grounded when we can connect with others on a similar path. Community connection is super important for all of us and for our mental health. I would be interested to find out what's one practical way that you as a dad can build a regular habit of checking in with your friends and making it a priority. Again, you're the rock, I get it, in your home, but every rock needs another connection. It's hard to make that happen, but yeah, we need it. We need that connection. Let's start by calling each other out, not when we mess up, but when we disappear. Be your buddy's lifeline. Brotherhood always beats burnout. For you and me as dads, here's the truth. Our kids are watching us like a hawk, and how we handle life becomes tools in their toolbox for them to use later on. If we never talk about our feelings, they'll never learn how to do the same for themselves because it's never been modeled. They're going to copy you. They are. They're going to copy your silence. They're going to copy your indifference because that's all they know. If we show them that it's okay to have bad days and talk things through, it's okay for dad to take time for himself, it's okay for dad to be focused on being a better human, that's going to carry through to them and help them to be the building blocks for how they show up into this world. This Movember, I want all of us to make a small promise to ourselves. One thing that you'll do for your mental wellness. Maybe it's going for a walk, calling your family, your brother, someone, or starting more honestly at home and how we share who we are. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's leadership. It's being a leader. And it might just teach your kids the most important lesson of all, that strong men take care of themselves. They take care of their mind, their heart, and everything about what they do, their health. Strong men take care of themselves. That's the message we need to teach our kids and model for our families because we take care of ourselves. So that's it for Dad Space for this episode. I'm so glad you're here. Again, 30 episodes, 30 days around Movember, helping dads, helping men like you to find their way in life. And I'm so glad you're here. And again, if you ever feel that moment where you feel like there's nobody here for you, whether it's a doctor looking at you saying no one's going to catch you if you pass out during the birth of your child, or you just feel like you're all alone in this world, then just understand there's a community of dads who love and care about you. They listen to the show. They are out there, and you need to find them. That's your task, is to make these connections. Do not be a dad on your own. Find connection within your community, within your family, within your circle of friends. And don't just go there to get, go there to give. Be there for each other. And make it a priority. Find that 5 minutes in your day and start now. Start today. And make it a priority every day in the month of Movember and November and ongoing. That you are a priority and never feel guilty for that. And for those that are listening who aren't dads, be a support to a dad in your world and help them create this space for themselves. That's something all of us can do. Thanks for listening to Dad Space. Keep checking in. More episodes coming up, daily episodes in the month of November to celebrate Movember here on Dad Space. Thanks for being here.
but even a man of the fewest words.
Knows that when times are tough, a few words just aren't enough. So if you're feeling like things just aren't quite right, be a man of more words.
Tell someone, because talking saves lives.